Welcome back, everybody. Let's see who's all online. Let's see if we got some people here. Let me know if you guys can hear me. I'd appreciate it. Just a confirmation that you can hear this. Always good to have good confirmation the mic's working. Looks like we got some active conversations going on here already. Let's see. What's up, Rio? How's it going, brother? All right, good. I take it that means you guys can hear me. All right, cool. So, a lot of things to talk about. A lot of things. Where to start? First of all, my title, it's happening. There's a lot of things that are happening. Tesla, Elon's buying Twitter. That's clearly happening. The Cybertruck is clearly happening. We're seeing prototypes. It looks like Idra finally shipped everything off. It looks like Ford and GM are hurting. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And it looks like there's a chance that, Ford might be interested in licensing FSD beta. Now that one is a lot speculation, but we'll go into it in a second. First things first, though, let's take a look at the stock market today because there's some interesting things going on here. And I think it's important to have perspective when a lot of people are wondering what's going on with Tesla. Why isn't Tesla back up to 300, 350, 400, all-time highs, etc.? Let's take a look at this and just get a little perspective about where we are and where we hopefully are going. So let me share my screen. All right, here we go. Let me move my ugly self out of the way. All right, let's just move it down here to the corner. Okay, so the first thing I want you to notice is a trend that we'll see with a lot of companies, right? I'm just gonna filter through a few of these real quick. Here you can see GM's probably like the worst example of what I'm gonna show you, but you can see that they essentially hit a high day and then they just trailed off. All right, Ford, you see Ford went up and it went down, right? Pretty much right around noontime. Okay, that's where everything kind of melted. Meta, otherwise known as Facebook, same thing. Right around noontime, it hit its peak and then it tanked down. And then after hours, Meta is hurting bad. We'll talk about that more in a second. Let's look at Google. Google went up. Hey, look at this. Right around noon, we started to trail off. Let's look at Microsoft. Anything different? Oh no, look. And then it came back down. Let's look at NASDAQ. Man, look at this. Look at these charts. Tell me these do not look identical. This is NASDAQ, S&P 500, Dow Jones. How similar are all of those? And again, same timeline. Right around noon is where they all peaked. Netflix, same kind of thing. Here we go. Twitter's an anomaly. Twitter's kind of the opposite. Right here, we see Twitter getting closer and closer to that price where Elon's going to be buying it. So that makes a lot of sense. But then we go back to Tesla. Hey, look at this again. Right around noon, we kind of hit the peak and then we trail down. Why am I showing you all this? Why am I pointing this out? Well, I think it's important to keep perspective about what's going on with Tesla right now. Even though we have all this good news, even though it looks like the Twitter hangover is about to be lifted officially, if not already has, we have to understand Tesla is still not trading based off Tesla. Really, very few companies are trading based off their fundamentals unless they miss bad on earnings, a la Google, a la Facebook or Meta, right? So that's what we're seeing. This market is punishing those based on their fundamentals, but they're not rewarding any companies based off their fundamentals. So keep that in mind. We're in a weird place right now. We're all living through this. We're all dealing with it. It's uncharted territory, right? I mean, you can look at the past and see what happened in the 70s and the 80s, but the truth is we're in a different paradigm now. Information moves faster, so you can't really use that as an example for today. So just keep that in mind. We still had a strong day. Tesla is off of the 198 lows, so you got to be happy about that. I mean, that's pretty optimistic if you ask me. We're a solid 10% off those lows, and I think we're going to keep grinding higher, right? I just don't think it's going to happen overnight. Coming down a lot easier than going up, right? Gravity is a lot easier to use to your advantage if you're trying to bring something down, but to fight against gravity, that takes time, and we'll work our way back up there. Now, something I do think that could possibly be happening is you'll see people rotate out of Microsoft with their bad earnings on the PC front and with Azure. You'll see people rotating out of that probably into Tesla. Google, right? Alphabet with GCP, GCP numbers worse than expected, and ad revenues, YouTube revenues cut in half essentially. All of that, you see people rotating out of that, probably going to Tesla. We'll see what Apple does tomorrow. But Meta, Facebook, again, another one. I think people are going to start giving up on that. What are they going to do? Rotate out of that, move into Tesla. So I think we're going to see this kind of reoccurring theme, especially going into the end of the year, where you might see some window dressing happening. Tesla still has a good amount of room to run, especially going to Q4. We're in Q4. But there's a lot of bullishness still left and things to be excited about moving forward. All right, so I did have a couple topics I want to talk about. So let me make sure I cover all of these. Okay, we talked about that one. All right, cool. All right, so let's go ahead. Let me share my screen yet again. And we're going to start covering some high-level stuff regarding Twitter, and then I'm going to dive into a few things that I found interesting. So I'm going to share this. All right, you guys should be able to see this. We got Gary Black here. All right, this is an interesting one. So here we can see exclusive, of course, Reuters, right? It's always Reuters. Exclusive, Tesla faces U.S. criminal probe over self-driving claim sources. All right. Yeah, another DOJ probe, right? And here you can see Gary kind of bringing some rationale to, you know, I don't want to say FUD article because I'm sure it's true. And these investigations do happen, but to really to prop these up as a real issue, I think is a false flag. Anyways, he says DOJ probe Tesla Autopilot was launched last year following more than a dozen crashes and is focused on company's claim that the car drives itself. That said, the company explicitly warns drivers they must keep their hands on the wheel at all times. So not only is Tesla beyond explicit about this, but Tesla, Elon, all of us beta testers are constantly talking about how FSD is beta. Autopilot is not autonomous vehicles, right? We don't have autonomous vehicles yet. They don't exist when it comes to the Tesla paradigm. Like, this gets said over and over, pretty much in every conference call, pretty much in any interview that Elon's in. All right, he talks about people needing to be vigilant, right? You have cameras watching you, making sure you're not on your phone or anything. You've got the constant nags on the steering wheel. Trust me, they are very annoying, right? It's literally almost impossible unless you try intentionally to somehow fake it out. Meanwhile, you've got Ford with commercials about their Blues Clues offering where you can have hands-free. And I'm sure you've seen the commercial where they're sitting there like, right, about all this hands-free stuff. You have GM, you know, the same thing with Cruise. Tesla's the only one that doesn't advertise any of that, and they're explicit on every single thing that they have that it's not autonomous. You are still responsible. I mean, they literally make it so it's idiot-proof, but still, here's the DOJ investigation. Anyways, I don't think there's anything really to care too much about that. And just to further point this out or prove this out, so here you can see from Tesla Facts, it literally says here, the description of Autopilot. It says, Autopilot does not replace human operators. Instead, Autopilot assists the operator's control of the vehicle, allowing the operator to focus on broader aspects of operation. For example, monitoring the trajectory, weather, onboard systems, etc. Again, it does not say it can drive itself. But talking about FSD, talking about autonomous vehicles, let's shift this conversation a little bit. So Ford reported their earnings today, and frankly, I don't think they were good. I'll probably make a video about that tomorrow to go deeper into that. I will talk a little bit about GM and their numbers versus Tesla, but I need to sit there and read through all of the financials when it comes to Ford. I'm not just going to hop on here and just talk about it and not really know what I'm talking about. So give me a day or two to go through that and really analyze that. But this was easy to analyze. Okay, so Jim Farley came out and he essentially said that they are ending their partnership with Argo AI, and essentially they're gonna, between them and Volkswagen, they're going to split up the talent that they want to keep, and everybody else is going to get a severance package. And apparently it's going to be a pretty good severance package. So it sucks when this happens. You know, nobody wants to be laid off. Nobody wants people to get laid off. And, you know, it's sad, but, you know, these things happen, and I'm sure those are talented people and they'll find other jobs out there. So, you know, let's all keep positive thoughts out there for them. Anyways, here we see Jim Farley saying this is a mission at Ford to change travel for the many rather than the few. Yes, there's a potential for attractive. Let me zoom in on this. There we go. Sorry, if you guys are like me with glasses on, you'll be able to read now. Yes, there is a potential for attractive revenue streams tied to L3, but at the end of the day, it's about giving millions of people time back and lessen the monotony of highway miles and stop and go traffic. Yeah, that's great. He gets it. As for the future of L4, level 4 autonomy, which frankly is kind of a silly way to, well, we've talked about that. Levels are dumb. We still believe it will be incredibly impactful in the long term. The muscles we build with our new talent in deploying a transformative Blues Cruise is such a horrible name. I mean, the naming convention they come up with is just so bad. Blues Clues, L3 system will be essential to the future of accessible driverless vehicles in everyday life. Cool. Nice to see that. If I scroll down, he says here, more info can be found here, right? Okay, so let's go to what he's talking about here. All right, so here, this is part of their deck. So if you guys want, you can go and check that out. And like I said, I haven't really gone through this extensively, but that thread from Jim Farley led me into this, so I want to explore this a little bit. And so I found something kind of interesting in here. So shifting timelines, priorities for ADAS at scale. In 2017, when Ford invested in Argo AI and autonomous vehicles, the company anticipated being able to bring level 4 ADAS technology broadly to market by 2021. Hey, you know what? Everybody thought the problem could be solved faster. Everybody's been wrong up to this point. So, you got to have some leeway here, right? Don't harp on them too much with that, right? It's new technology. So fair enough. No worries there. And then this part gets interesting because it looks like they're quoting Farley specifically. And Farley says, but things have changed, and there's a huge opportunity right now for Ford to give time, the most valuable commodity in modern day life. I agree. Back to millions of customers while they're in their vehicles, said Farley. It's mission critical for Ford to develop great and differentiated L2 Plus and L3 applications that at the same time make transportation even safer. We're still on the same page here, Jim. You're saying all the right things. Love it. We're optimistic about the future of L4 ADAS, but profitable, fully autonomous vehicles at scale are a long way off, and we won't necessarily have to create that technology ourselves. All right, so this is the quote I really want us to focus on, okay? Let me just highlight all this. Okay, first of all, disagree. I think he's very, very misled here. We're optimistic about a future for L4 ADAS, but profitable, fully autonomous vehicles at scale are a long way off. I disagree. I believe it's going to happen in 2024. We can disagree with that. Nobody's been right up to this point. But let's focus on the second part of this. He says, we won't necessarily have to create that technology ourselves. That's a very interesting statement, isn't it? That they won't have to create it themselves. So if they're not creating it themselves, what does that mean? Okay, well, maybe Mobileye's out there, so maybe they'll partner with them. But maybe this company called Tesla that Jim Farley seems to be giving some praise, much in the same spirit that Herbert Diess was doing, maybe he'll take up Elon on his offer of licensing out FSD. That could be interesting, and there's a chance for that. And that's my phone. Let me go ahead and put that on focus mode. Amateur hour over here. But I think that's a very profound quote to have in here. Why else would he have that unless there's a chance that they're going to attempt to license this? Especially if Tesla gets it first. If Tesla gets there, why wouldn't you? Now, it makes sense what they're going to do with Argo and Blues Cruise. It seems like they're just going to leverage that for L2, L3, so they can have an ADAS system. They can say they're in the space and they're making strides and all that good stuff, right? And maybe they can try to find a way to profit off of it. However, when it comes to solving the problem, at least in my opinion, Tesla's really close. It'll be interesting to see what 69.3 looks like. Apparently, it's a big architecture step forward, so we'll see what that looks like when it comes out. But we might be there. I mean, it's going to go wide release in North America by the end of this year. I mean, Elon was just just saying that on the earnings call. I mean, we're almost in November, people. That means that we're about 60 days away at most, right? I mean, today's what, the 26th or something like that? Okay, so call it 64 days. We're maybe 64, 65 days away from this being released, wide release. Name another company doing that. Name another one. Name another one with over 100,000 beta testers or vehicles out there doing autonomous drives. Even though they're not fully autonomous, right? And you have to have a person behind it. Name another company. Not Cruise, not Waymo, definitely not Argo, right? They're deprecated. So I think this is just a very, very interesting takeaway from the Ford investor deck. And I'll leave you with this last one. Well, I'm not leaving you, but last one for this topic, I think. So take a look at this. And again, shout out to James Cat for posting this. If you guys remember, we've seen this many times. The followers, the challengers, the contenders, the leaders. All right. So interesting. Very interesting. Here we have Argo AI, the company that they're essentially scrapping, and they're going to take the talent and they're laying everybody else off. We have here Waymo, who still seems to be stuck in their little geofence in Chandler, Arizona. They're not really making any strides in California. What are they doing? You got Cruise here, which they seem to maybe be doing a little bit better than Waymo. But again, they're in San Fran. They're in the least busy area during 10 p.m. to like 4 a.m. hours. I mean, what are you doing here? Meanwhile, Tesla, all the way down here, has 160,000 beta testers. You can use it anywhere in North America, essentially. When I say essentially, it's because I know that Canada has I think maybe it's Toronto, Quebec, I forget where, but I know there's a certain area that's blocked off, but I don't think that's Tesla specific. Maybe it is, I don't know. But the point is, in the United States, you can use it anywhere, right? There's nowhere I can't use my FSD beta. I can go anywhere I want. But Tesla's back here. So if the companies that are in this quadrant, such as Argo AI, are getting canned and scrapped, maybe this whole chart is backwards. Maybe Tesla is the leader. Maybe these are the followers. Maybe there really are no challengers. Maybe. Who knows? We'll find out eventually. All right, let's transition into some numbers. Just real quick here with GM, and thank goodness we have James Stevenson on our side. He really distills things into a good perspective. And if you guys remember, I did this last quarter comparing GM, Tesla, and Ford. And the only reason I haven't posted something like this is because I'm waiting for Ford. But let's pick on GM real quick, just because, well, why not? Mary did lead, so let's see how that leading's going. Oh, by the way, did you guys see that? Did you guys see the what was it? That Rivian and GM advertisement where it's literally the exact same background and everything. The leaves are the same. It looks like GM just completely plagiarized what Rivian was doing. I couldn't believe it. It was wild. Anyways, let's look at GM's deliveries. Wholesale, 2.6 million. Keep in mind that wholesale. We'll talk about that in a second. Revenue, 113 billion. Net income, 7.9 billion. GAAP margin, 7%. Profit per delivery, 3,000. Contrast that to Tesla. Tesla deliveries had 0.9 million. And so context, this is up to this year, right? Q1, 2, 3, aggregate together. That's what we're looking at here. So Tesla has about 900,000 vehicles delivered so far this year. Revenue of 57 billion. Net income, 8.8 billion. GAAP, 15%. Profit, 9,000. Okay, you guys can read that. Let's contrast these. 0.9 million, 900,000 times 3 gives you about 2.7 million. What does GM have? About 2.7 million. Okay, so GM has 3 times the amount of vehicles delivered. But do they? Kind of not really. What Tesla has are real deliveries, means customers took ownership. What we see here from GM, wholesale, this means dealerships, I think I just had a Freudian slip there. I think I said dealerships. I didn't mean to say that. Dealerships. They are the ones that take the deliveries from GM. So this is kind of a faux number, I would say, or a soft 2.6 million. But we'll give it to them. Let's call it 2.7. They have 3 times the amount of vehicles that they delivered. Let's look at revenue. $113.6 billion. That's a big number here. Tesla only 57.1 billion. In fact, if I times that by 3, right, just call that 60 times 3, that's way smaller than 113, right? So man, maybe that's the problem with Tesla. Net income. Well, this is where things get a little weird. Tesla, on 57 billion in revenue, made $8.8 billion in net income. Meanwhile, isn't that more than GM? How weird is that? That's so weird. How is Tesla making more money than GM? It's so odd. Let's keep going here. Gap net income margin, 15.5% for Tesla. 7% for GM. And finally, the creme de la creme, the dessert, the cherry on top. Profits per delivery, 9,700. Profit for delivery. You could 3x this. It would still be less than what Tesla gets. So, in other words, that means that GM has to sell 3 vehicles, really 3-point-something vehicles, for every 1 vehicle that Tesla sells to make the same amount of profit. Not just that, but then you also have to keep in mind that it's 3-point-something, but those vehicles are really going to dealerships wholesale. So it's not like they're really selling these just yet. Not saying that GM can't sell these or dealerships won't. My point is there's more weight behind Tesla's numbers than GM's numbers. And I think, it's important to at least keep that in mind. So I haven't done an analysis on Ford. I haven't even looked at their numbers. I briefly saw that it looked like they met expectations or whatnot, and I think a lot of the vehicles they had on standby that didn't have all the parts, it looks like that is getting those vehicles will get sold into Q4. But the problem I see with all these, and I haven't looked at Ford again, but I presume it's gonna be the same thing, is that they're selling these vehicles for less profit. And this is the internal combustion engine vehicles they're really selling, right? It's not like the majority of these, it's not even like 95% of these are electric vehicles. So if you're struggling this much with your ICE vehicles, what happens when that shift happens? And that shift's going to happen faster than, I think it's already happening. I don't know how many people you talk to, but anyone I talk to says, well, yeah, I want to buy another car, but I want to save and I want to wait until I can get an electric vehicle because I think it's stupid to buy an ICE vehicle right now. This is what I'm hearing left and right. People, sure, maybe you think, okay, well, Nick, you have a Tesla YouTube channel, which really is not a Tesla YouTube channel. It's an investing channel. I just happen to invest all in Tesla outside of real estate. But you might think, okay, you're in an echo chamber, you hang out with the Tesla guys, you do live streams with them, you're invested in Tesla, so you're biased, so your friends must be as well. No, on the contrary, my friends are not drinking the Kool-Aid I'm drinking. They have their own minds. They think for themselves. Most of them are some type of STEM background, engineer, lawyer, scientist. I mean, so they think for themselves. Like, Nick isn't going to brainwash them in any way. And these are the people who are still saying this to me. They're still telling me, well, it's very obvious that electric vehicles are the future. And they'll start telling me, like, yeah, I mean, just imagine every day when I leave my house, like, I don't have to worry about going to the gas station, I have a full tank of gas, if you will, right? Like, it just makes more sense. Like, I barely even drive anywhere. I drive like 5 miles a day, if that. It's like, they're selling me on. I'm like, yeah, I know, I get it. What do you think I've been saying all these years to you? Like, you're finally getting it. And it's cool to see. But the point is, they changed like that. GM, Ford, Volkswagen, everybody, they're all trying to change. They've been changing for years, and they still aren't getting anywhere. They still aren't profitable. They still don't have mass production. They still have supply issues. I mean, hell, Volkswagen still has software issues to deal with. And the bigger problem that you're going to start to see, which is kind of scary, it's not like, I know a lot of people talk about their ICE vehicles not selling, they're sitting on lots, and then they have to deal with that, right? Like the cost of that. The bigger problem is when people aren't buying their EVs. I know everybody thinks you make it, they'll buy it, they'll take them. Yeah, say that to the ID4. Say that to the Hummer. All right, I mean, like, say that to the Bolt. All right, the Bolt is what, like $19,000, and they can barely sell. I mean, Mach-E, look at the Mach-E. Sales declined, I think. I mean, I have to look at the numbers now, but last I checked, over the last two months, I think sales to the Mach-E declined. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's true. My point is, people aren't just going to buy any EV. And to this day, at least in the States, if you tell somebody, oh, yeah, I'm going to get an electric vehicle, people think Tesla. That's what they think. It's no different like, oh, I'm going to go buy some tissues. Oh, you're getting some Kleenex, right? It's like it's synonymous. Oh, you're getting Band-Aids. Well, you're getting Band-Aids, right? It's almost like the brand is synonymous with the thing. So electric vehicle, Tesla, it's like they're interchangeable at this point. Anyways, let's transition to one more topic, and then I want to take a look at some of these comments here because you guys are rocking it. So looks pretty good. All right, so let me share my screen one more time here, and then I'll verify I covered everything. All right, I know you guys saw this. This is absolutely hilarious. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but look at this guy. He's such a troll. Coming in with the sink. Oh my God. This is like, you can't make this stuff up. Only Elon Musk would do this. I love it. I absolutely love it. And I can't tell, but it kind of looks like a used sink. I bet you someone's like, oh, well, Elon, like, you want me to get a sink? Well, what do you want me to do? You want me to go buy one? He's like, no, go take one out of that dirty bathroom or whatever. Like, well, I want a used sink. I don't even want to clean. I want a used sink. That's what it looks like. But credit to him. I mean, like, he understands that he's been clowned on, that people have had, especially at Twitter, have been like, you know, just the letter, the Slack messages, just on and on. And here he is saying, you know, a beautiful thing about Twitter is how it empowers citizen journalism. Or, well, that's not even what I want to show you guys. Clearly, I haven't refreshed this. Here we go. Let's see. Here we go. He says, meeting a lot of cool people at Twitter today. Right? He's still keeping it positive. And I love that. I think that's absolutely great that he's doing that. I think this is why you see Twitter shares right now really close to that 54.20 price target. Obviously, he's going to close. I don't know if we've seen any Form 4s filed, by the way. So let me just look at those up real quick. Let's see. Tesla IR. But it seems like there's a chance that Elon didn't sell anything, right? Let's see. Nope, I'm not seeing that. I don't see anything. The last thing I see is the 10Q. Yeah, I think we still have till like 10 p.m. tonight, so we'll see. But there's a chance that Elon didn't sell anything for this, which means what happened Monday was just people trying to front run with puts and shorts on them, thinking that, oh, okay, today Elon has to sell, and they're trying to front run it. Now, don't get fooled though. Elon, he's a clever man. There's a chance he took out a margin loan to help him out, and then he'll sell at a later date and pay off that margin loan. That's possible. However, if there's one person that can raise funds, I think it's Elon. So I think it's highly likely that is not the case. And if we don't see any Form 4s today, I think that means that we might be solid. He may have not sold anything. And it'll be interesting because if he didn't sell anything and he was able to get enough equity partners on, enough investors, and he didn't have to use all of his cash, well, then he might buy back some Tesla stock. So, hey, anything's possible. All right, let me scroll up a little bit to get into some of these. Let's see if there are any questions. Let's see. All right. Look, I'm not going to proofread these, so hopefully they're good. All right. Fun time, sorta. Still rearranging my mess here. Hope Nicholas and chat folks will force me to learn something. It's a daily chore I do. All right. Well, hopefully you do learn something. Hopefully that Ford thing was news to you. I don't know if you saw that. I didn't see a lot of people talk about that, but I found that interesting. Gross mismanagement. All right, that's funny. Can't seem to find their way through the maze, which is basically a tunnel, but they keep going off on side tracks. Yeah, that's interesting, but I feel like Ford's doing this. It's weird. All right. If Ford and GM could combine, they're doing a good job. That's how I see it. Ford is executing by getting something out there, right? It's like the MVP, the minimal viable product. That's what they're doing. They're getting out there. They did it with the Mach-E. They did it with the Ford Lightning. Whereas GM is taking a reverse approach, right? GM, is working on their batteries, their Ultium, whatever, and we'll see how that goes. And they're trying to slowly roll things out, and they're trying to have a bigger portfolio, right? So you could say what they're doing is good, right? Trying to localize supply chain, trying to localize battery production, trying to open up plants elsewhere so that you don't have to worry about unions. Okay. But then you go back to Ford. Well, their CEO is saying the right things, and he gets the vision, and he understands what's happening. And you go to Mary Barra, and she doesn't. She's kind of a clown right now, saying, thinking that they're going to surpass Tesla when they can't even surpass Ford. They can't even get in the top 3 of EV sellers in the States. Neither can Ford, apparently. But it's funny. It's like if you could combine them, then the messaging and the actions are right. But the thing is, even if you did that, even if you took the best of things that Ford's doing and saying, the best things that GM's doing and saying, combine them together, even then, there's something you're still missing. We still have to execute. And that, I think, is where they're both going to fall short, unfortunately. I don't want them to fall short. Again, I think, both have iconic brands that I don't want to see go away, right? F-150, that's iconic. The Mustang, not the Mach-E. I do not like that vehicle. I think it's ugly. But the OG Mustang, the actual muscle car, right? That's iconic. I don't want that to go away. And with the Corvette, you don't want to see that go away, right? That's a cool car. Not quite for me, but it's a cool car. So, all right, let's see. Let's see what else we got here. Hi, guys. So the Twitter deal is behind us. Well, I don't think it's quite behind us. I think it'll be behind us next week. I think next week we'll really see what happens, and we'll perhaps start to see people come back in. And hopefully next week is where, okay, this Twitter news is done. It's over. Now, anyone who wanted to get into Tesla, but they didn't want to do anything because of Twitter, but now Tesla has investment grade rating. Maybe now we look into it. Anybody who's sitting on the sideline, hedge funds or whatever, who want to do window dressing, but they were saying, you know what, let's wait till this Twitter drama is over, then we'll get back in for that window dressing. And I'm sure there's a lot of people on the sidelines who are just sitting there saying, okay, let's make sure Elon finalizes this, make sure there's no other hiccups, because we've seen hiccups left and right with this thing. Let's get this finalized, get this done. Then we'll pile in, because Tesla is dirt cheap. So I wouldn't say it's quite behind us, especially because we're still riding with the macros. But Friday, next week, I think that's when we can say that it's behind us. At least let's hope so. Let's see. Elon bringing the kitchen sink to Twitter headquarters is hilarious. I agree. He's savage. He's the king of kings when it comes, or he's the techno king. When it comes to all that, is just brilliant. One of Elon's superpowers is his sense of humor. I agree. I think that's one of the reasons why he's as popular as he is because of his humor. I mean, the guy's just, he could be a comedian. I mean, I don't know if he could do live stage like Chappelle, Rogan type stuff, but he's definitely got the chops for something of the sorts. He's a meme king. That's what he is. Let's see. I love that retirement fund bought more Tesla. Oh yeah, bullish when they have confidence in the stock. I agree. Let's see. Facebook and Twitter years ago do get giggles when other posts tweets. YouTube is fun. Not sure I'd call his posts news, but constant content media. Yeah, fair enough. So something I was thinking about, just going back to what Mimi was talking about with retirement funds. I'm thinking about making a video. So I have a video about financial independence based off of Tesla. And, if you guys don't know, I became financially independent, I guess a couple years ago now. And I still work because, I have another level of financial independence I want to get to. And, how else am I going to get money to plow into Tesla? And I love what I do, and I love my team, so all that stuff. But that to the side, I want to make another video regarding Tesla and financial independence, but reframing on how we think about it, because I know everybody always has these lofty numbers of 10 trillion, 20 trillion, 100 trillion by 2030. But to reframe it, thinking about maybe a 4 trillion, 4.4 trillion dollar or market cap value for Tesla, and just see what the, you know, what does that look like? What does that framework look like? And what kind of things should you take into account? And really getting more detailed into things like, are you factoring your healthcare? Are you factoring in, you know, more expenses, or are you factoring the fact that maybe your house will be paid, right? I just want to get a little more nuance with that. That's a topic I'm really passionate about, and I think Tesla is going to be, Tesla's stock itself is going to be a vehicle for a lot of people to become financially independent a lot sooner than even a lot of you might think you will be. But again, I want to use more conservative numbers. And when I say conservative, I mean, we're talking about 4.4 trillion. Where am I picking that number from? Well, Elon's comments during the quarterly earnings about Saudi Aramco being bigger than Saudi Aramco and Apple combined. I mean, yeah, I think it's interesting. And then on top of that, just to add to it, Ron Barron has also kind of used that same number, that same valuation. So I think, you know, to be conservative and use that, and I mean, it's hard because on one hand you think that's not conservative, on the other hand you think that's extremely conservative. So anyways, I want to make a video just kind of really thinking about that. And I think if you aim to be financially independent based off of that market cap, then whatever happens, you're probably going to be in a good spot in, 5 to 10 years from now. But there's a lot of people who, myself included, think that Tesla will be bigger than 4.4. I'd have to look at my models. But I think that it'll be bigger than 4.4 trillion by 2025. I think ARK Invest has them at 4 trillion by 2024. It was, I believe. So there's a lot there. Let's see. Mobileye spinoff from Intel to re-IPO again. No chance against FSD. More likely Intel dumping a data technology. Yep, I agree. Like, again, I don't know how many of you guys have FSD right now, and I'm definitely biased because I live in a place that has really good roads with really good markings and everything, and it works really well here. And I don't want to say that I think it's ready for like robotaxi or anything like that just yet, but we'll see with this .3 release, because I don't think we're that far. I really don't. I just saw it on somebody doing an FSD beta test drive on YouTube the other day. I saw it do a U-turn, so we know it can do a U-turn. They weren't able to repeat it, but it did U-turn once. But if they could solve like just a couple things, like to me right now it's 3 things before it's a minimal viable product for robotaxis. I know people will be like, oh, safety and all that. Well, hey, we don't have any accidents yet. So like don't start with that. I'm just talking about actual functionality. The functionality, I think it has to be able to do. It needs to be able to do a U-turn. And it doesn't really need to, but I think just for I don't know, for convenience, like it needs to, right? That would just be annoying if it can't ever do a U-turn. So U-turn is up there for me. It needs to be able to see signs like, hey, this road's closed, or hey, detour over here, and handle that well. And then the last one that I really think is more of a, how do they deal with mapping data? So the problem they need to solve, this is a better way of framing it. The problem they need to solve is, if I want to go to the supermarket, or I want to go to a restaurant, that whenever I put that into the directions, it drops me off at the front door, not at whatever the maps say the location is, because sometimes it's out on the road. It doesn't even pull into the driving lot or the parking lot. So that, accompanied with parking lots and all that, I think those are the 3 things it needs to do before we can have a MVP, minimal viable product, for a robo-taxi, or at least a robo-taxi with a safety driver behind it. Anyways, I think that's all they need, and I think they'll have all of that except maybe the U-turns before the end of this year. But again, I've already seen it do a U-turn, which I couldn't believe. So who knows? Maybe we'll have all 3. Let's see. The problem with Ford and GM is the culture. The problem with Ford and GM is that they're Ford and GM. I'm a dick. It's get the job done just well enough to not get fired. I agree. But there's another problem. There's another big problem, is that, and this isn't just a problem with auto manufacturers. This is a problem across the world, is that it seems like products are made these days not to stand the test of time. Products are made to fail, right? We've gone from metal gears to plastic gears so that they can break eventually. We've gone from chain timing belts to rubber timing belts. Why? Because they'll fail eventually. We've gone from I don't know. I mean, I'm running out of things to think of the top of my head. Or like laptops. I have a MacBook and it looks still as good as it does as the day I bought it, 6 years ago. But if I have a Dell or HP PC, after a year and a half, it looks old. It looks like crap. It's bad materials. So I think people make products to fail. People don't make products to stand the test of time. And Tesla takes the opposite approach, which is very rare. I mean, I would say Apple kind of does it with their laptops, but they don't do it with their phones. But Tesla has the philosophy of the best service is no service. The best part is no part. So that's to me the real big. I mean, culture, absolutely. But to me, there's a bigger theme of what society wants, and the society's idea is, okay, well, if we can make parts that break after a certain amount of time, well, guess what? You have to come back in. Oh, guess what? You have to do service, and that's not good. That's not a way to run a business. I missed one here. Blues Cruise is just a ship in the middle of the ocean filled with elderly on vacation. Oh man, that's rough. That is rough. Let's see. Ford, GM, other legacy OEMs are more likely assembly plants, not manufacturers setting up. Deadpool for who goes bankrupt first next. Actually, this is pretty spot on by Janbei. You'd be shocked. You'd be shocked at how few parts that any of these auto OEMs actually make themselves. I think really besides the engines themselves, right, they don't really have a lot of ownership in any of it, right? They outsource just about everything that they put into the car, and then they just assemble the vehicle themselves. So guess what that means? That means every one of these extra, thousand upon thousands of vendors that they have, they each get their third-party slice, right? They're a little bit of commission, their margin on top of it. After a while, you aggregate all that up. That's why these auto OEMs have such small margins, right? It's pretty painfully obvious, but hey, I mean, it's been the way it's been for forever. And then here comes Tesla doing everything vertically integrated, and people say they're stupid, which and this is why I say that you can't look at the past when it comes to inflation. You can't look at the 70s and 80s, because if you look back then, like, oh, we should do what we did then, and we don't want to make those mistakes. All right, well, people would have said Tesla is being an idiot because look how things have been done, and Tesla's not doing things the way things have been done. Oh, so they're idiots, right? So that's a problem. You can't. It's good to look at the past and take good learning lessons from it, but you can't take that and apply that moving forward as the norm or as a measurement of what we should do. It's why I don't really believe in technical analysis. I think that there is some validity to trends, like I was showing you earlier today, of all the charts, right? There's a trend that happens, right? There's a clear downward trend, sure. But to see what a stock did over the last week, last month, last year, or this candle did this, so that means it'll happen here, I just don't really buy into all of that. But hey, to each their own. Not my money. It's your money. Do what you want. None of this financial advice. If Tesla licensed FSD to other manufacturers, will it be capable? Will it be as capable or as less capable version? I think I know what you're saying. Will the cars be required to have X amount of cameras? Okay, yeah. So 100%. So not only will they have to have the same amount of cameras, they'll have to be in the same location, essentially, right? I mean, you can be off by like millimeters, I'm sure. Maybe not even that, but yes, they'll have to have the same amount of cameras and same locations. And the reason for this is because the neural networks are trained, and I mean, everything they have, like how they create the occupancy network and everything is based off these cameras placed at a certain point, and that's what the data is based off of, right? So that's what it's been trained on. So you can't just have like less cameras and do, well, you could, but it's not going to work as well, and Tesla would never do that, right? So, and they'd have to retrain based off fewer cameras or more cameras. I mean, it won't happen. So they do need to have the same amount of cameras, same locations in order to license it. And I think they will license it. FSD licensing still requires some compatible hardware 3 platform. Okay, not easy for Ford or others. That's true, because this is the other thing. That's going to eat into their margins again, right? Because let's say they license it from Tesla. Okay, yeah, so you're licensing from Tesla, so Tesla's going to get a cut of that. You better believe it. And then you're going to have to buy the FSD computer. Well, guess who makes that? Well, it's Tesla, right? Tesla makes the chips. They make the PCBs, right? They make all of it. And then you have to do your part as the OEM. Like, you have to sell it, you have to license it, like you have to charge for it. And then the question becomes, well, damn, why am I going to pay more for this with Ford or GM than I would with Tesla? I'll just go with the Tesla and I'll have a lower cost. I mean, it becomes quite a problem. So it'll be interesting to see how all that's handled. But I don't think Tesla wants these companies to go bankrupt, right? I really don't. I just think it's pretty obvious they're going to have a smaller share of the total auto market. So Argo AI has shut down. Yeah, I don't think that's how they're framing it, shut down. I think they're more so saying they're dissolving it, and they're going to split up the best talent of it between Volkswagen and Ford, and then everybody else will get laid off. So yes, it's shutting down. But I think the way they phrased it was a little more empathetic. I think Farley and Ford execs mentioned that they were talking to Tesla. So yeah, so this is the second time I've seen this. Somebody referred to Monroe when Farley was on Monroe Live. When I watched that, I didn't see anything there where they mentioned licensing FSD from Tesla. So please let me know where you saw this or what, and maybe it was on earnings call today. I don't know. But this, if this is true and it's out there, like, I mean, that's huge news. And it definitely seems like that. I mean, like, again, I pulled it up in their shareholder deck. It's not like I just, found this random thing that somebody says Farley said. No, it's a quoted tweet from Jim Farley in their shareholder deck. Can't make that up. By the way, just take a second. Like, remember that shareholder deck I was just showing you guys for Ford? Like, can we appreciate, like, the aesthetics of Tesla's shareholder deck? It's so much better. I mean, let me just share this again with you guys so you can truly appreciate it. Like, look how hideous this is. And I know it's not all about aesthetics and all that, but it does say a lot about a company's culture. Just looking at this, I mean, look at this. Look how hideous this is. Like, this is really how they're reporting everything. Meanwhile, you have Tesla with just beautiful PowerPoint deck slide. I mean, this part's the same, I guess, but like, look at this. This looks like something you would have found like in 2002. I don't know. It's just interesting. It's those are the little things that make Tesla, right? You take those little things and you add them up, and after a while, you have a Tesla. I think it makes a huge difference. Let's see. No one else but Tesla has the opportunity to develop complete autonomy. Tesla has so much data collected, so many smart developers, thousands of beta testers, and why invent the wheel twice? I 100% agree with this. Not only why invent the wheel twice, but can you? Right? The way I look at this is like it's like trying to compete with Google search. Their search algorithm has so much learning, so much history. It's so well done that it's almost impossible to compete with. And I would say with Tesla's the one with the FSD beta is even harder. It's a way, way harder problem because getting the data is that much harder. But it's not just once you get the data, okay, problem solved. Well, then you need the engineers, you need the talent to be able to figure out how to make this work and how to come up with the ideas. And it's just, man, like it's the same reason why nobody else has landed a rocket yet other than Tesla, right? Right, they're the only ones that are landing the boosters. Nobody else is doing it. It's only Tesla. There's a reason for it. So it just seems pretty obvious to me at this point. But ideally, you would think in any industry, there's always at least two players, and you want that kind of iron sharpens iron kind of thing. But I don't see anyone doing it right now. I mean, you have Cruise and Waymo out there, and maybe they'll survive. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what the model is, especially if Tesla comes to market, if Tesla is able to put robotaxis everywhere and they're more cost effective. Why would you ever take a Cruise or a Waymo when it's like it's geofence, it's more expensive, it's slower, it's not as efficient, it's not as nice of a ride, and when you're inside of it, you got all these LiDAR, and I mean, I don't know. Doesn't make sense to me. Does not make sense to me. Let's see. Interesting. So Toronto, but no longer. So Toronto's no longer geofenced, is what I'm understanding this, Raymond. That's awesome if that's true. Well, if it's true, you're telling me it's true. I'm just saying I hope I am understanding you correctly here. But yeah, if that's true, that's absolutely awesome. Let's see. Just split the FSD price half and half. Nice. Let's see. Because of the streetcars. Okay. Analysts need to spend more time on actual numbers instead of wasting time guesstimating the future. Yeah, I mean, I'm not great at it. I got my numbers wrong. But I think everybody did. I think the average selling price really threw everybody off on this last one. Tesla will surpass GM in 2024. Not sure if people realize how insane that is. So I want to clarify what I think Rio is saying here. Rio is saying Tesla will surpass GM in vehicle deliveries. So you throw in actual profit, it's going to be way more than that. It'll be 3 times that, right? If the math holds up, right? If the math holds up, it'll be 3 times that. So Rio's been kind of spot on a lot of these things. I've been seeing him on Twitter everywhere. He's been talking about like what's happening with GM and Ford and Tesla. And I agree with Rio. Like come 2024, 2025, it's going to be beyond obvious. It's a game set match. So shout out to Rio on that. GM makes lots of revenue from servicing parts, which they won't get on EV conversion. Exactly. Which I mean, okay, so put GM to the side. Let's go back to Ford. Well, Ford's trying to do with their dealerships. How does that work? Right? And I think that's the part where the dealerships are like, guys, how do we make money? How do we make money? You're telling us to sell the vehicles essentially at list price. Okay, so we're not making margin there. We barely have any service because, well, hopefully they're electric vehicles, so they require less amount of service, you would hope. Oh, well, maybe it's over there updates. People come in and pay for that. I mean, it's a weird model. I don't understand how dealers actually get paid other than their commission. And the other thing is if they have less service, well, guess what? They're going to try to charge more and make more on that delta between what they pay from the OEM, right? They paid to purchase that vehicle, and then what they sell it to the consumer, right? That delta is going to have to increase because where are they going to make their money? Service is essentially going to go by the wayside. So it's a very tough place to be in, very tough. And I don't envy them. A lot of jobs are going to be lost, and the industries are going to get transformed, and it's inevitable in its progress, and it's just part of the way these things work out. But at the same time, you just got to have a feel for these people. You have some empathy for them. Like, it sucks, and Tesla can only hire so many people. But, I mean, I don't know. Hopefully these other companies like Rivian, they step up and they make it. And the dealership model to me is like the biggest problem for all of them. If they could get rid of the dealership model, and if they could, just really go full throttle with battery manufacturing locally and actually putting a serious effort into EVs, then I think that they could make it. I think they could. And you know what the scary part is? I think they are putting a serious effort. I really do. I think it doesn't show, or the results aren't there, but I think they are putting a serious effort into it. And that's kind of scary to me. Let's see. I'm scared to put this out here. Gordon Johnson is still stuck in the last decade. Okay. I read that as something different. I won't say what I read it as. Let's see. It's embarrassing that he's even brought on as a regular on TV. He's a village idiot. I do agree. It is weird how often they bring him on to have the same points, and I never really hear, every once in a while, like Joe Kernan from Squawk Box. He'll call Gordon Johnson out on it. He'll say, Gordon, you've been wrong for the last 6 years. What makes you think you're right this time? It's like everybody thinks, oh, eventually you'll be right. I mean, we've gone through a pandemic. We've gone through the Russia-Ukraine thing. Well, I guess we're still going through that. The Twitter saga, inflation, lockdowns. I mean, go on and on and on. And still, we're not at this $23 price target that he's talking about. I mean, you tell me, like, what's happening there? Let's see. Last I checked, most brokers have a standard disclaimer that past performance does not predict future value. True. Yet they are willing to make forecasts based on imagined outcomes. Bull/bear. Yeah, that's valid. It's valid. That's why nothing here is financial advice. I'm too bullish for it to be financial advice. Chinese EVs count as half a rickshaw. Sorry, bad ethnic joke. Yeah. There goes my monetization. That's gone. Let's say they just mail up future numbers based on the moon, and they call it forecast analysts. Yeah, but you know who else does this? I see a lot of this from these predictions from OEMs about like what the future is going to be, how much they're going to invest. They're just throwing numbers out there at this point, and it's like, okay, where do you really think you're going with this? It's like a Cold War for who can spend the most on what they're going to spend on the future of EVs. And these companies have hundreds of billions of dollars in debt. Meanwhile, Tesla they don't say that. They don't put things, oh, we're going to spend $6 billion this year on EVs. Oh, it's like, it's a weird thing to put out. It's like this chest bumping thing that they're trying to do. And I just realized my shirt's all wrinkled, whatever. But it's a weird, like, peacocking thing that they're trying to do. And I don't really get it. Let's see. Somebody posted the other day that they only have 1/3 stake in the Wuling Mini, so even worse. Yeah, that's a weird partnership with SAIC, SAIC, whatever it is that they have. It's weird. And the Wuling Mini, I mean, I think Model Y outsold the Wuling Mini now, so it's not, it doesn't even count as anything. Let's see. Do you think Tesla could legally remotely disable one's Tesla vehicle if they are reckless driving, fleeing from police, etc.? Seems like a possible privacy concern. So, great question. And I think, no, I don't think they could legally do it. I think it's a privacy concern, just as you're saying. It's like your iPhone, right? Where supposedly, at least, Apple will not back end into your iPhone or figure out. Yeah, I mean, that's why we have end-to-end encrypted text messaging, right? The reason for this, I mean, there is a privacy that must be held, and for someone like Elon, who is purchasing Twitter for the sake of free speech and to do what's right by the masses, and I think he really believes on having like a hands-off type government, where government should be there to regulate and guide, but shouldn't be there to really, I don't know, inhibit ideas and take technology to be used against the people, right? So I think it's against the ethos of Tesla and Elon in general. But could they technically do it? I'm sure they could. I mean, these people are landing rockets and figuring out how to make these cars drive themselves. I'm sure they can figure out how to disable your car if they wanted to. Will they? Highly doubt it. So there's a difference there. And it's funny because I always see, like, anytime you see like any of these hearings where the CEO of Google or Zuck or anyone has to go before Congress, they say, could you track me from where I am right now with my phone? Like, okay, what are you asking here? Can I do that right now? Do we do that as a company or whatever? Okay, the answer is no, we don't do that. Could we? I'm not saying they don't do that. It's just, this is an example. But the question that they always ask, like, can you? Is that possible? It's like, hey, is it possible? Of course, anything's possible, right? As long as physics doesn't say it can't be done, like we can figure out how to do it. If there's a will, there's a way, right? Like, we can figure it out. But do we do it? Will we do it? Those are two separate things. And I think, like, in Congress, it's, God, we have the age, the average age in Congress is scary, absolutely scary. Let me see. My guess that any car that is over-the-air update is capable has this concern. Yeah, I agree. Let's see. A lot of people don't like electric vehicles because they can't afford them. They do not admit that. They do not admit that. It would be a shame. So they downplay EVs. Too shy to admit. No cash, too expensive. Yeah, I don't know. I find a lot of people who say they don't want EVs, they'll use that as an excuse. But it's a lot of people who are just kind of slow to change. That's what I've noticed. I don't think there's any nefarious reason or issue with EVs. I just think that they're reluctant to change at the time. It's the same reason some of you don't have iPhones yet. All right. I gotta give credit. That's not a me joke. That's an Andrew Schultz, my favorite comedian. That's a joke he had on one of his specials. So yeah. You talk about there's people who have money and there's people who have Androids. I think that was the joke. Savage. I think he's hilarious. Let's see. Elon throwing out the kitchen sink. That's funny. Sinking feeling for Twitter employee jobs. Yeah. Sinking feeling for Twitter employees jobs. Yeah. I feel bad for them. Hopefully, even if I don't agree with what they think or anything, they still are entitled to their thoughts and stuff, but I do feel for anybody who's worried about losing their job. And I feel for anybody who's going to have a new boss or a new leader who, they don't like. But the good thing is they can leave and they can work somewhere else. It sucks when it happens, but at the end of the day, we all have our own autonomy and we have to make the decisions that resonate with us. Again, even if I don't agree with it, if I was part of a Musk-run company, I'd love it. Are you kidding me? That'd be awesome. Especially if it happened like this. Like, how great is that? I'd hold on to my stock. You better believe it. But, you got to do what's right for you. That chart is a joke to me. I'm not sure what chart you're talking about. Oh, you must be talking about the autonomous vehicle status. Yeah, at least I'm assuming. Yeah, it is ridiculous. Tesla has until 10 p.m. Okay, do you think robotaxi will be sold to public? This is interesting. Do I think it'll be sold to the public? I think so. We had a live stream for the earnings call, and I think this is where Ross Gerber and I were talking about this. I think that they will sell it to, Ross thinks that they'll sell it to fleet operators. This is something I could buy. I could buy this because then Tesla can make profit on selling the vehicle. Tesla can make profit on the insurance of the vehicle. Tesla can make profit on FSD beta, which will be reoccurring, as will the insurance. Tesla can make profit on the service center. To fleet operators, Tesla can make a lot of money there. So yeah, I could see him selling to the public in that respect. At the same time, Elon did paint this vision where you would be able to put your vehicle into the robotaxi network and it can work for you throughout the day. So maybe they won't sell specific robotaxis to the public and keep that for themselves and for fleet operators, but then you'll also be able to put your vehicle into the network. That could be it. Who knows? I'm 100% sure Elon doesn't need to sell a single share. Ooh, real. Well, hey, you got about 1 hour and 57 minutes before we know if you are right or not. Oh no. All right, guys, we got someone on here. Look at this clown, Farzad Misbahi. Who is this guy? Look at this beautiful smile. Talking about my flannel. Nah. All right, shout out to Farzad. Absolutely love this guy. He's amazing. Don't know what he's doing on right now. He should be eating dinner or something, cooking for his wife because she always cooks for him. If you guys, I'm assuming you guys all know who Farzad is. If you don't, check out his channel. He's amazing. But yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. It's a little chilly out today, so I figured, hey, it's flannel time. Winter's coming in Florida. That's right. Oh man, guys, can we for 1 second? House of the Dragon. But we've been calling it Hot D. House of the Dragon. Hot D. Love it. I think it's absolutely amazing. It's funny. We watch every week with our neighbors, Josh and Nicole, and Nicole, my wife, and myself, we think it's better than Game of Thrones. Josh disagrees, but we like it because I think it's a lot easier to follow all the character development, and it moves a little faster. So I don't know. I'm enjoying it. Uh-oh. Farzad, confirmed for Nick. Did Elon sell? How would I know? Don't you? I thought you're the one that keeps track of his brokerage account. Like, clearly, that's why. Let's see. Mary, embarrassing. Tesla is given a lot of forgiveness for delays in delivery. All right, so let me push back on this. I don't think Tesla's given forgiveness for delays in, well, all right, maybe I don't know the entire spirit of this comment here. But if you're referring to the vehicles that are being delivered via ship right now that weren't delivered for end of quarter, I think that was a very smart strategic move that they were making, and I think they're doing the right thing there. If you're talking about as far as delay for delivery for things like the Cybertruck or for Model S, Model X, look, Elon is the first one to say that the refresh should not go as fast and efficiently as they wanted to. Cybertruck, Semi, look, these are new platforms that are going to have all new technology, and I think you have to have like a little bit of patience there, because very much like the 4680 battery, like sure we have all these ideas and we think we see a path to success, and we think we know what our ground truth is for what the obstacles will be, but until you start going into it, you don't really know what's going to happen. Right? Like you don't know where the hiccups are going to be, so you're going through uncharted territory. And so with the Cybertruck's the same thing, with the Semi it's the same thing. So yeah, maybe they are given a lot of forgiveness for it, but it's because they are revolutionizing things. They're changing the way the world works, right? I mean, what other company do you know about their actual innovations that they're coming out with that come to fruition? Right? I mean, what happened to the Google glasses? Where's that at? What happened to the Apple car? Where's that at? Where's Apple's VR? I mean, like, they don't even announce it. We just hear bits and pieces of these things from all these supposedly amazing tech companies. Meanwhile, here's Tesla. They're telling you what they're going to do, and they eventually end up doing it. Here's SpaceX. They're telling you what they're going to do, and they end up doing it. So, I mean, you just have to have a balance there, I think. But, hey, I'm biased. I'm a little invested in a Tesla, so yeah, take it with a grain of salt when I talk. Let's see. I thought you said in your live earlier. Not really sure what that's referring to. Oh, maybe you're talking to Farzad. Hey, this Farzad's dominating the conversation over here. I'm not even halfway through this. Let me scroll down. What's going on here? I said if he sold, he would sell Monday. Okay. Farzad explains stuff. Farzad's giving hearts out. Let's see. Ultra easy for Elon to find 50 co-investors with 100 million. Yeah, I don't think he just sold burnt hair cologne. Like, do people really think that he has an issue with coming up with funding? Not only that, but he's buying a company that's overvalued and people still want to invest in it. Why? Because they're not investing in Twitter. They're investing in the man, the myth, the legend, Elon Musk. It's what I said before. I mean, you've heard it over and over. Ron Barron, he's not invested in Tesla or SpaceX. He's invested in Elon. Chamath is famous for saying this. He says, what am I invested in? I'm invested in the man. I'm invested in the greatest entrepreneur of his lifetime. Right? Like, I mean, these are the things. I mean, again, like, it's that PayPal mafia too, right? They've all become successful, but none of them have done what Elon Musk did. I mean, it's that's what you're invested in, really. At least I am. Let's see. Nico is one of my go-tos. Love this channel. Oh, I appreciate that. I actually just got done listening. Yeah, that's funny. I have a little bromance for Farzad here. I just got done listening to him on Tim's channel, Oracle Investments. Check it out. Go check his channel out. Subscribe on it. Same with Farzad. But Farzad's got enough subscribers. No, I'm just kidding. Go subscribe his channel. But no, it was a great conversation that they had. I really enjoyed it. It was literally my like I don't really listen to music in the background anymore when I'm working. I listen to, Tesla podcasts, and like that's what I listen to, and so I was listening to them today. So appreciate for the entertainment while I work today. Let's see. I thought I was subscribed. Must be new YouTube layout that made it clear I wasn't. Always check your videos, SMR, Farzad, and others too. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I like Steve Mark Ryan. It's funny. It's like there's a lot of Tesla-based YouTube creators out there, and it's funny. Like I go to each of them for different reasons, right? Like to me, like Rob Maurer is like ground truth for me. Dave Lee is Tesla Yoda for me, right? And that should be trending. Dave Lee is Tesla Yoda. All right, like you heard that here first. I actually said the Farzad the other day. Farzad is like how do you even explain? Farzad's my Tesla man crush. That's what he is. Don't tell his wife. Don't tell my wife. Farzad's like that good feel. Like every time, hello, welcome, we're here. Like, yeah, I love it. It's inviting. He invites you in. It's like he's like a big bear hug. Stephen Mark Ryan, he's the comedian, right? He's the Andrew Schultz of the Tesla community. Like I feel like that's a spot on right there. Warren Redlick, he's the savage that you don't really want to mess with because he's gonna lawyer you left and right, up, down, middle. Tesla Boomer Mama, she's in charge of all of us, right? Like end of story. She's in charge of all of us. It's like, you can go on and on. Like all these people are just absolutely amazing, and for like different reasons that I watch all of them. And, hopefully I fit somewhere in the middle of there. Oh my God, guys, I got all this Tinder hot date stuff. If any of you are single or lonely out there, like apparently, a lot of adult dating sites stuff going on here. Gotta love the bots. All right, let me go through a couple more of these, and I'm gonna have to wrap up, guys, because I think dinner's ready upstairs. Let's see. My friend here. It's easier for them to go to Tesla for the supercharger network, and yet none of them have taken them up on this. Far less FSD. Yeah, that's a very good point. Man, Electrify America, like you want it to be good, right? Like, all right, maybe you don't. All right, I'm like conflicted. Like as a Tesla consumer, I want it to be good because hey, there's more charging stations. As an investor, I want Tesla to have a monopoly. I want Tesla to be the best experience. I want Tesla superchargers to be the de facto. I want everybody to bend the knee and say, we give up. Tesla, just do it. Put them all out there. We surrender. But, I'm conflicted. But you're right. If they're not even using FSD Tesla superchargers yet, it's like for them to go for FSD, it's gonna take some real soul searching and humbling for them. Let's see. Once FSD launched to all licensors, may get too much data overload. Think Tesla engineers already mentioned filtering to get more unusual. Yeah, this isn't that's not an issue at all. So I don't know your background, Raymond, but let me try to say this not too technical. But so what happens is like just imagine like a big data lake, right? And they're ingesting everything. What they're able to do at this point is they're able to query or they're able to fetch whatever specific data or use case they want, right? And they'll get, hundreds or thousands or maybe even millions of versions of that. And they'll use that to train portions of the neural net, right? Certain models of it. So I don't think getting too much data overload is an issue. I think honestly, I think they throw a lot of it away and they keep the stuff that they're looking for. And I think they're looking for specific use cases and different things. And they try to make sense of different disengagements and stuff like that. So I don't think there's a data overload here. And especially because I think a lot of this has been solved by internally developed software where they can kind of filter through this. So I don't think it's a lot of human data labeling or anything of that nature or filtering. If it was human filtering that had to happen, I would say that's when you'd have a real issue. Okay, let's see. Get a couple more of these in here, and then I gotta go eat. Let's see. Okay, so all right, so Monroe did say this about 2 months ago. Okay, I'll have to go watch it again and see like how those sentences were actually structured to truly get a sense of it. I'll take your word for it right now, but I'll definitely go back and take a look at that. So really, really appreciate you pointing that out for me. So that's great. Let's see. Hi, Nicholas. I've always wanted to hear your take on Ron Barron saying that SpaceX will ultimately be bigger than Tesla. Ooh, okay. Yeah. So this is a good one. So Ron Barron knows more about Tesla and SpaceX probably than any of us do. Well, internally. And obviously that's because he's got big stakes in each of them. He can call Elon, he can go on tour whenever he wants. So you have to understand, like, he's got a information, advantage that we don't have. So understanding that and understanding how do I say this? In this decade, I don't think this is possible. Okay? Like, if we say that SpaceX and Tesla can be everything they can be, right? No limitations. They end up succeeding in the task that they're achieving or they're going for, right? Whether it's going to Mars, taking people to space, doing point-to-point traveling on Earth, so that you can go away from having to go to airports or planes, right? Because if you can go up and down, it's faster. It's a shorter path of travel to get from point to point if you could do that. Dealing with, the fact that every time you land, it'd be so loud and some type of, like, say they could solve all those problems and Tesla could solve FSD, Optimus, all those problems. I still think that Tesla will be bigger than SpaceX because of Optimus. I think Optimus is the big needle mover when it comes to Tesla. Like FSD, I think will get Tesla to a anywhere from 5 to 10, maybe $15 trillion market cap, right? Optimus takes it to, I don't know, bigger than the world economy. I mean, I don't know. The economy would keep growing, obviously. So, but Optimus is what makes things like, okay, this is impossible, right? Like, what happens here, right? SpaceX would be using Optimus. I mean, like, I agree with Ron Barron, but I think Ron Barron does not include Optimus in when he's talking about this. Take Optimus out of the equation, then I could see that. But if you have Optimus in it, nah. I think Tesla will be way not even close. It'll be so much larger than SpaceX. SpaceX will look like a joke. But there's a lot of work to be done. We have a long way to go before that happens. All right. Let me see. I'm sorry I can't get to all of these, by the way. My stomach's hungry, and I've had like barely a meal today. Although I will give a shout out to my wife because she showed up this morning with 2 pieces of toast with a fried egg on top and some ham and essentially like an English muffin, if you will, and just brought it to me while I'm sitting here working. I mean, she's the best. She gives me some great service and love. Ooh, we got Yashu in the house. Hit that bid. Nice. God, I love Yashu. So Yashu. All right. So this is this will be embarrassing. Pretty much every time Yashu goes live, that's what's in the background when I'm working. Always. I still remember I was watching Yashu whenever Tesla broke $1,000 for the first time. It was all in the same day. Like, we broke like 900, I think, or maybe it was the next day. Like, we got to like 908 or something like that. And then that next day, we're sitting there going 908, 920, 940. I run upstairs to my wife's office. I'm like, oh my God, look at this. We're at 950. I come back downstairs. I run back up. We're at 975. I come back downstairs. I go back upstairs. I'm like, I'm not leaving. We're gonna break 1,000. It's gonna happen. I'll never remember that. That was the most epic live stream I've ever witnessed. And yeah, You gotta, I mean, I'm assuming you all follow Yashu. Hit that bid. It's great. It's awesome. He's actually the reason why I ever even do live streams, because I love watching him and his engagement, and so that's why I do them from time to time now. It's fun to engage with all you guys. Okay, cool. Yeah, that was an epic one. Yeah, definitely have to do another one soon. All right, everybody. Well, lots said on this episode. Curious to see what you guys all think. I'll dive into the forward earnings report. Like I said, I haven't really had time, so I'm not going to comment too much on it. Let me go through it. I want to do some analysis on it and then give actual, knowledgeable opinion about it. But hey, we talked about a lot of different YouTubers today. So if you haven't heard of any of them, go check them out. Check out Tim at Oracle Investments. Check out Yashu. Check out Hit That Bid. Check out Farzad Mizbahi. I hope you guys know who Dave Lee, Rob Maurer, Steve Mark Ryan, Warren Redlick. It's all great people, all great channels, different vibes, different things going on, different opinions. We don't all agree, but at the same time, there's this kind of common true north, true star, ground truth that everybody's a part of, and most importantly, you're all part of it, right? Like it's all of us. It's a community, and I love meeting you guys. Going to the shareholder meetings. Just seeing it. It's just infectious. So keep it going. Oh yeah, I always forget this. Like and subscribe if you guys haven't already, or if you like it, or like this channel or whatever. I'm awkward about this stuff. All right, I love you all. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Peace. Have a good evening.